the feed, and it looks like it's good here. So that's all good. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special Webinar Wednesday, the final official Webinar Wednesday of 2017. What a year it's been. At the start of this year, we committed to doing a weekly live webinar here on Dotto Tech, and I think we pretty much kept our word. This is our 42nd webinar on Webinar Wednesday. So good for us. Big pat on our back. And thank you to all of you for supporting us. And we wouldn't be doing it if you guys weren't so phenomenal in supporting us and keeping us going and encouraging us and giving us ideas and feedback and keeping everything going. So thanks so much to you. A special big thanks to all of our patrons on Patreon who make this all possible. Today's Webinar Wednesday is a big one for me. I'm excited about today. I'm always excited about every webinar because I work hard getting them ready. I should say, I'm Steve Dotto, by the way. That's April over there in the other window. Hey, say hey to April. And you guys all know the drill by now. Well, look, we've got most people in the room. Let's dive in. And so we've got 20 minutes of video where I'm going to go through the importance of online video, and then we've got a little bit of a slideshow and then Q&A. So I'm kind of excited today to talk about online video, perhaps my favorite current topic to be talking about. And so this webinar today, we're going to cover a lot of ground. I'm going to be talking to you about a lot of misconceptions about video, about the opportunities that video represents, why it is such an awesome investment for you to learn to create, or if you not to learn, to create more online video, and how you can leverage that into your community and into your business process. So we do have a lot to cover. Plus, at the end today, we're going to be telling you about our newest course called Online Video Made Easy, which is actually an evolution of our screencasting made easy course, which we are launching early in the new year, which you will have the first opportunity to join up for at the end of today's webinar. But let's begin by making sure we're all understanding the perspective that I'm going to be presenting this content from. So a little bit about me. A lot of you know this, but some of you may not, that for 20 years I was in traditional media here in Canada. I produced a nationally syndicated television show, I did a syndicated radio show, and I was even a syndicated newspaper columnist. So I had always a national perspective on all of the main medias of our old school medias. In about 2010, 2011, we stopped doing the TV show and I started my migration into the online space. Took a few years to get my feet under me. But now I consider myself to be a content publisher. No longer do I think of myself as a traditional television guy, but now I think of myself as a content publisher in the online space and a producer of video, primarily for YouTube is our main thing. So that's really the perspective. And all of the skills that we learned, developed, honed while we were doing traditional media, a lot of them are applicable in today's online space. So I'll always be bringing that perspective as we go along. So now you and I have a wee chat about video. In my opinion, the most valuable digital asset that you can create. Calling it online video I really struggle with the term because I also like to call it social video, because more often than not, the video we create is designed to be delivered in some social platform, be it on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, even on our own website. It's in a social environment where we primarily think about the marketing and the distribution as being through social media networks or social marketing networks. So we can make that term kind of interchangeable, social video and online video, because also social comes so strongly into play as we design the type of video, as we design the temperature and the composition of the video that we create. Depending on which social platform we're designing it for. So before we get into the kind of the nitty gritty, I'd love to do a little bit of a quick poll, and I'm going to ask you: are you currently using video? And there's going to be a poll running on the side here of the webinar, and I'd love to know if you're using video currently, and if you aren't, why not? Is incorporated in this question. So while that's running, we'll take a look at it after this pre-recorded segment. But I'd love to hear your feedback on that. So, what is social/online video? It's all of the video that we see in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, even in our blog posts or websites. It is all of the video that is delivered into those channels. And it can be used for anything and everything. For entertainment, for edutainment, for tutorials, for training, vlogging, live events and streaming. And let us not forget, webinars. this is a form of online video as well. Online video fits into all of these different categories, and it fits so well. But I think when people think about video, they think about it as a thing, as this is video. And when people talk to me, they say, you create video. Can you create a video for us? And I said, well, what's it for? And, people don't often, I think a lot of us don't dive into the applications video. You would never talk to a writer and say, oh, you're a writer. Could you write for me? No, you look for a blog writer, you look for a fiction writer, you look for a script writer, you look for a contract writer, you look for a technical writer. All of those are different skills. Even though they work in the same medium, they work in words on the screen or on paper, but different applications are completely unique. So we look at words as a medium that convey different, that we apply to different tasks. Video is the same. Video that we create for Facebook, primarily, is very different than video that we're going to create for YouTube. Video that we create to go into an online course is very different from a promotional video that we create as an advertisement. We have to look at video by the application that it's being delivered to. And especially this is important when we consider the social distribution, when we consider distributing video into the different social platforms. I think people get so caught up with the amount of work that it takes to create video and the sense of success that they have when they've created a video, that then they say, now I've created this video and I'm going to share it, and they share it into all platforms, and they get different tractions because it's going to work very well in one platform but not necessarily well in another platform. And I think we can best illustrate this just by talking about the big two, YouTube and Facebook. I consider YouTube video, when we consider the viewer, the person viewing the video, I consider YouTube video to be intentional video, whereas Facebook video is interruptive. And this is a profound difference between the two. Think about it for a moment. When you go to YouTube, you go to search for a video. Very seldom do you stumble across something in YouTube. You will find gems, but it's when you're looking for something, you find something really valuable. It's not something that you're just going to stumble across. So as a creator, we need to think of YouTube not so much as a distribution platform, but it's a discovery engine. It's a social network. It's a place where people find us and learn to connect with us. And it's a place that we can use then to build authority. Think about how you use YouTube. You don't go to YouTube to see what's happening. You go to YouTube to say, how do I spatchcock a chicken? That's what you go. You go to learn to do something, and then you find videos and you find creators that you might ultimately cleave to. But the bottom line is you've gone with intent. And when we create a video in YouTube, we've got a longer grace period with our viewer because they are looking for the content that we're delivering. If we've properly articulated it, if we've defined what it is in the description and in the title, and we get them into the content quickly, they're going to stay with that video longer because they've asked to view it. Unlike Facebook, which we'll talk about in a moment. Another huge benefit of YouTube video, it is eminently repurposable, and I do hope that is a real word. But every video that you create for YouTube can be leveraged into blog posts, into tutorials, into other aspects of your business. Now, certainly you can repurpose videos from Facebook as well, but the structure and the kind of the intrinsic value of a YouTube video makes it really perfect for repurposing. Now let's look at Facebook. So what is the difference when you go and view a video on Facebook versus when you view a video on YouTube? Well, first of all, what have you done when you go to Facebook? Are you going to look to learn how to spatchcock a chicken when you're on Facebook? No, of course not. You're looking to get different. Often you're avoiding your responsibilities. And so the video that appears in your feed, in your stream, is of an entirely different nature. You're not going to look to improve yourself or to learn something. You're looking more for quirky things, humorous things, things that outrage you, things that are socially relevant that you perhaps didn't know about. You're looking, because all of these things interrupt the flow of you basically looking through to see what's happening with your friends or to look for funny posts about skiing squirrels. That's the sort of stuff that we're looking for in Facebook. So all of the video that we produce and deliver in the Facebook platform is interruptive. It's interrupting the flow. It's not something that somebody sought. Therefore, there's a different value. Now, this is not to say that there isn't real value in delivering Facebook for video for Facebook, but we have to look at the composition of that and understand that it's different. We're not teaching people something, we're intriguing people. with Facebook video, or we're providing some additional benefit. So when we look at Facebook, especially Facebook Live, what are we typically getting out of it? Well, I think most people there's a human interest in the immediacy and being part of a real event, of being live in an event. And that extends into the live and online streaming space. So people love the intimacy and the backstage access that they get from viewing a Facebook Live, know that they're part of a group and they're seeing the person in the real. It's not like they've been able to prepackage the video like I've done here. It's much more like the preamble when it's live and you know that, what works, and, we're basically viewing the presenter in their raw form. There's an immediacy to it, meaning you can be talking about things that are happening in real time in the world. And a conversational element, the fact that you could have dialogue going back and forth. I believe that the chat is essential. The Q&A aspect of any Facebook Live or any live streaming is a big part of the value. And ultimately, it becomes the shared moment, the shared experience between the participant and the presenter in all of the live platforms. This is why video is so powerful. These two aspects brought into a single medium that we use to create and deliver. This is why it's so important that we learn to master the delivery mechanisms and we learn to create video, to tap into the intent and to tap into the intimacy that video delivers. So other reasons that video is so relevant is amongst all the generations currently alive, there's a comfort with video. We've grown up with video. We really feel a connection with video. And it is a fast track to relationship building, which for you and I, for people who are in the social marketing space, it is such a bonus. The bottom line is it brings so many more senses into play. And a lot of people think that when I talk about video, I end up kind of dismissing and poo-pooing the value of the written word, of blog posts, for example. And I don't mean to do that, but I suppose I do that to a certain extent, and you'll hear why. Writing a blog post, writing any post, writing a piece of content is a tremendously laborious thing for most of us. I find it a lot of work to write. And except for a few really gifted writers, most of us would agree that it's hard to craft really well-written pieces. And when you consume it, when you read it, the person has to concentrate on it. They have to read the words, they have to infer, they have to read between the lines, they have to work hard to get the author's intent. And it's a bargain that we've struck often in the past, and there's a lot of value in it, but it's hard work on both sides. When we deal with video, the person who's consuming the video brings more senses to play in consuming the content. They hear with their ears the voice. With their ears, that was obvious, Steve. Well said, Dotto. But they hear the voice. They hear the passion. They hear the energy in the voice. They see with their eyes the tilt of the head, the expression. So they're in all of these different senses that we have as human beings are all designed to help us make decisions very quickly based on what we see, what we hear, what we know from the thing that we're viewing. When we're reading, we have to build all of those models in our mind. When we watch them in video, they're evident there. They're easier to consume. So as far as relationship building, getting to know if somebody likes you and believes you, video is a far more powerful medium because it takes less energy on behalf of the viewer. And personally, I think it also takes less energy on behalf of the presenter. I can present and create video in less time than writing a comparable blog post. And most of you are in the same boat. There are people who can write faster and more effectively. Yes, I will admit to that, but I think the preponderance of us, the greater majority of us, are more comfortable with video. And when we add to the fact that it's generationally very comfortable, that we're moving to the mobile platform increasingly, and the phone is wonderful for viewing video, but not so great for reading text. And when we see the repurposability and the persistence of video and all of the different places that we can apply video, I think you just have to admit that the moving ahead, video is the most powerful digital asset that you can create. And if you're going to spend time in this space, you should learn to create video. It's going to benefit you. The more skills you have in video, the more it will benefit you. So that brings us to the talking about the creation process. And those of you who are not creating video, I got a question for you. What's stopping you? And I know that it's one of three things. It's always one of three things. You think the technology is too hard, or it's too hard to create video, or you don't understand the tech. So that's number one. Number two is you think video is time consuming and challenging to do, that it's expensive to do in time or money. Or third, you have personal insecurities about how you look in video. You aren't comfortable with that. You aren't ready to share that with the world. So that's a good reason to step away from video. It's easier to hide behind the words on a page than it is to put yourself out on video. So let's deal with these one at a time, because they're all valid, but they all really, I don't think, tell the whole story. First, the tech. You can record pretty killer video now with your phone. It's a full production studio. Your computer is a production studio. The style of producing video that we teach is all based on your desktop computer. We use a technique called screencasting, and you can produce video incredibly quickly. This video that I'm creating right now, that you're watching right now, you're viewing this video, this webinar on either Wednesday or Saturday. It's Tuesday afternoon at, It's just after noon. By 3 p.m. today, I'll have this video finished and uploaded to YouTube, ready to be included. And this is going to be a 20 to 25 minute video that's going to be ready to be included in this webinar today. You can create this stuff quickly and effectively. And yes, I'm pretty good at it, but you can be just as good at it as I am. So the technology the technology is not as difficult to master as you think it may be. And also, you're pretty smart. You can figure this stuff out. It is not rocket science. It's stuff that you can figure out. So the technology, not all that difficult. And as far as your investment in that technology, most of you already have most of the pieces in place. You can upgrade pieces as you need, but a decent webcam, a decent microphone is all you need to start. Add lighting and green screen because you get fancy. Yes, there's ways to improve it, but a couple $100 investment will get you going in it, or you can just use your phone. That's another way to go. The time. It's too time consuming. Learning the skills is going to take some time, but you have many of the skills intrinsically already. We've watched so much video that we know how to tell stories this way. So the learning to craft a good video is easier than learning to craft a well-written blog post. It's got the same basic elements with introduction, the content, the wrap. It's got all of those sorts of things, but it flows very easily in video. As I mentioned, I can create a video in less time than writing a comparable blog post, and I've already talked about how long it's going to take to produce this video that you're watching right now. So I think we can put to bed the misconception that creating video is time consuming. Yes, if you start going out in the field and shooting some phenomenal B-roll and getting the lighting and all that stuff right, you can take a lot of time, but in a controlled environment like we do with our screencasting world, you can create video incredibly efficiently. Let's deal with your insecurities. And this is one that I struggle with because I'm going to kind of call you out on this. And I understand why people do have insecurities around it. I respect that. But I also, let's look at the reality. Most people have insecurities because they're afraid they're going to look a fool when they create a video. They're afraid they're going to make a mistake and people are going to laugh at them. They're going to do something which isn't quite up to snuff, and they're going to look the fool as a result. It's the same reason people have fears of speaking in public and other things. Personal insecurities are real. But you need to learn to look at others with the same eye as you look at yourself. In other words, you look at me right now, and when I've made a mistake earlier on and I said something that was completely wrong and I pronounced a word wrong, it didn't bother you at all, did it? It didn't bother you in any way, shape, or form because it didn't bother me. See, when we view a person and they make a mistake and they're self-conscious about it and they become uncomfortable about it, we become uncomfortable as an audience because we experience empathy. We typically don't judge near as much as we are empathetic, I think that's the term, towards the person on stage or on screen. So if I am insecure, if I am reading strictly from a prompter because I don't want to make a mistake and I have become very mechanical, we become uncomfortable watching because we know that person isn't being natural. They're not comfortable. We can feel their discomfort and it bothers us. We feel empathy as opposed to judgment. Very seldom do we look at somebody and go, that person's really stupid. I think that they look bad and they talk funny. You don't typically do that when you're watching somebody that you're trying to learn something from. Yet, we give people the grace that are presenting to us but we don't offer the same grace to ourselves. When we make a mistake, we think it is the end of the world. We're apologetic about it, and we feel that we've done a terrible job. Even though we've done a very good job, usually, we never are willing to give ourselves the same credit as we are willing to give others. So I got a tough question for you. Do you love others more than you love yourself in that way? Like, do you like me more than you like yourself because you're willing to give me that grace? No, I hope not. So please, please give yourself the same credit. And one thing that you can do is you can record a video and not edit it right away, or wait a day or two to record it, and it always looks better after you've recorded it to edit it. Or get somebody else to edit it. Just put it out and then get somebody else to edit it. But the bottom line is, and we cover a lot of this in the course, we talk a lot about performance, is you have to learn to relax in video and be yourself. People like you for who you are. And if you can get that across by relaxing in your presentation, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Your community is going to benefit, your product's going to benefit, and it all is going to fall into place. Now, this isn't an easy thing to do. It's taken you time to become insecure. It's going to take you time to get confident, but we will get you there, I promise you. So that's an overview of why video, I think, is so important. Now, I'm sure in the Q&A we will talk a little bit about video production techniques, but I wanted to really get across the things that I think are limiting factors in people engaging in video and the reasons that we should be engaging in video, regardless of what our application is. And now I want to take a few minutes and I want to fill you in on what I think is a really exciting announcement, that we have a new version of our course ready to go and ready to share with you, Online Video Made Easy. So I'm going to stop the video right here and I'm going to do the next part of this live. Thanks, Steve. That was awesome. That was good. Great chat going on in the chat room. Some people, some areas seem to have been having some feed issues, and we apologize. The only thing you can do is hit the reconnect button at the top, or exit and re-enter. Try a different browser, but we can't control internet speeds, unfortunately. Sometimes that we do have it, but most of you seem to be doing okay. And certainly the conversation was enlightening. It was really encouraging to hear some of the feedback from some of the people who have taken the dive and started to work with online video themselves and are discovering. I think was it Judy mentioned that she just records for herself and as a practice, and not even for publishing for other people. That's one thing, is there's a lesson that I remember from my days on television, is when I would leave the studio at the end of the day, I would feel like we'd done the work, but I never felt that I was particularly good. I never felt like I really nailed it, ever. I never watched and edited my video. Somebody else edited the video. I had a production team that did it. But months later, I would watch the shows. I would see them come on TV, and I would watch them occasionally. And I would always be pleasantly surprised with how good they were. And I would come in and I would say to Kim, who was our production manager, I say, wow, I watched XYZ show, and it was really good. And she goes, you've got to watch it more often, which we all have issues, myself included. We have issues with how we look and how we present on camera. But when I watched it after, allowing a little bit of time, I was amazed at how much better it was, because we've got this internal dialogue going on in our head the whole time that we're presenting. Is we've got a clock that we're trying to do for time. We're trying to plan for what's coming ahead so that we don't have one of those awful pregnant pauses where we forget what's going. We've got all of the different branches of conversation that we think we can take the presentation to, especially if we haven't scripted things out really clearly. And so we've got all of this, we've kind of got this conversation going on in our brain while we're trying to communicate. And that confuses us and distracts us, and it causes us not to necessarily know or understand the value that we're actually presenting. So even editing right after you've recorded versus waiting a day to edit, there's a profound difference in how you see the quality. So that's just a kind of an aside that I wanted to fill in there. Here's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to let you, sorry, go ahead, April.
No, I was going to say, I think, we talk about video and being our own branding and our own self, and really you're human. And that's the big thing. You don't, obviously you do some edits, but you want to be human, because that's what people relate to. And then they decide whether or not they want to do business with you and trust you.
And people work so hard to make a video look corporate and professional. And It's so boring. It's so not us. Whereas that intimacy that I talked about with Facebook Live, and what we're doing right now, the intimacy of this moment, that's what connects us. That's what allows us to form relationships in the online space. That's where the magic of online video becomes social video, because there's a real engagement between the participants. And that's something we never had on television. You know, I had a bit, well, maybe I had about the same size reach as far as the number of people viewing our content, but I never had a relationship with the people who viewed my TV show. I had a relationship with sponsors and network executives, people you never want to have a relationship with, trust me. But now we in social video, we have a relationship with the people who are our community. That's it's wonderful. But I want to sell you something. So I'm going to fill you in. Let me jump in, and we're going to do a quick little slideshow here. And I'm going to fill you in on the course, and then we'll answer all the questions. We've got a ton of questions and conversation to come out the backside. So we'll get going, and I'll let you know about our online video made easy course. And I'll get April to April, can you just kill your camera, and I'll just keep mine up because people want to see me. Not that we don't want to see you, but you're going to be working. So, all right. So we have online video made easy. So this is the rebirth of our screencasting made easy course. And screencasting made easy was a successful course. We put hundreds and hundreds of people through it, but I never liked the name because screencasting sounds so limiting. And really, screencasting is just using your computer as a production studio. It's like desktop publishing, except for video. So we changed the name with this iteration to Online Video Made Easy. And we also tweaked the content a little bit to be less just about YouTube and more about the entire social video space. So the course itself is broken into 6 modules. There's 3 live tutorials that are part of it as well. So there's 9 actual lessons. And we have a great Facebook group that is such a blessing for a course like this, because you get to talk to others that are going through the content at the same time and get feedback. It works out really well. Going to quickly go through what's in the content. In the first module, we deal with all of the hardware, software issues, and we talk to you about the basic production techniques that we're going to be working on and teaching you about. And it's really the primary structure is learning to make videos like we do, like the video you just saw is in the tutorial, like the sort of stuff I do on YouTube. It's not necessarily about shooting video in the field, but it's more about creating the kind of webinar type content or online course content, that sort of content, streaming content for Facebook Live or for Instagram Live, those sorts of things, is the kind of the primary setup that we're going to be talking about and showing you how to create. In the second module, the magic behind, or not, magic might not be the right word, but the art behind the success of our channel on YouTube and many others is the fact that every video I create is not a work of art, but it's a production. It's the result of production. I have a format that I follow that I've created that works. It's taken me years to develop the format, but when you can have a format that you work to, then your pre-production process for your videos is pretty straightforward. You know what your goals and objectives are going in, and creating video at that point there can fall back on means that we always know where we are in the production process. And teaching you how to create a format for your video is one of the most important aspects of this course, in my opinion. Once you learn format, that's the beginning. That's kind of the launch pad that really sets you up for success in the world of online video. The third module is the technical aspects of recording and editing your video, actually creating that product and getting it out and getting it online. The fourth module are advanced production techniques, creating B-roll elements that you're going to work with, working with things like a teleprompter if you have to read a script and controlling it from that perspective, dealing with all of the little things that take your basic video and kick up the quality. If you watch our very first videos that we produced on our YouTube channel to the last ones that we're producing in the content that we'll be producing in the new year, you're going to see a vast difference in the quality. Even though the content is almost identical, it's so much more watchable because we've added all of these advanced production techniques. We're going to share those with you and give you some ideas of ones that we don't even use that necessarily don't fit in our place, but might fit well for you. So advanced production techniques in Module 4. Module 5 is entirely new. This is one of the new pieces of content that came out of the growth of all of the streaming video formats. So we're going to have a module concentrating on what I call purpose-built video, how you approach creating video or doing video live for live streaming applications, for webinar applications, for YouTube applications, for online course support and delivery, for marketing or promotional activities. Purpose-built video, the planning process and what you do with your video and how you craft your video to be delivered more effectively in the social network or the delivery mechanism that it's being created for. We just spent a lot of time talking about how video like a dad, where you deal with copyright. We have to deal with copyright. Now, we don't just have to deal with copyright from our perspective of making sure that we protect our content from other people's misuse, but we also have to protect our online reputation, making sure that we don't encroach on other people's copyright, because that's one of the fast tracks to getting kicked off YouTube or not having your video shared on Facebook, is if you're not following copyright laws. So we go through all of those so that you're always on the right side of the ledger as far as copyright goes. And we also talk about backup and security, making sure that all of your investment in all of your online video is well protected. So those are the pre-recorded live lessons. Now, each live lesson is delivered as a webinar. It will be recorded as well, so you'll have access to it in your own time if you can't make it live. The first lesson is going to deal with a lot of what we talked about today: performance, people overcoming your insecurities and getting the best out of you that shows your real personality on camera, and getting you out of that shell and basically overcoming those issues that are stopping you from performing and doing your best on video, making you look comfortable on video, even when you're not. And nobody's comfortable all the time, or almost any time, I suppose, in video. There's always part of you that has some level of insecurity. We'll deal with that, and we'll make sure that you understand how to get the best out of yourself on camera, your video, and that you're cross-promoting your videos and you're pushing them into social networks in ways that they can be successful, and increasing the number of views and understanding what it takes to be, what success looks like on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram Live, on your blog, finding ways to make sure that your video, the investment that you make in your video, has a business video, and you recognize that your investment in time and money in video is worthwhile, you'll very quickly come to the realization that there are things in the process probably better quality and cheaper than you, and you can concentrate on creating the content. Choosing who to hire, where to outsource, what resources you can use to streamline your production process. Once you understand it, once you've entrenched your production process, that's a big step in making online video work for your business. And so this module is really exciting because it teaches you where to go for those resources, and then how to outsource, how to find that editor or that shooter or that person that works with you in creating your content to more effectively allow you to create more, better, compelling content in the online space. So that is, in a nutshell, the course. Now the course begins in the middle of January. It'll last 3 weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks, depending on what the actual date mix is. And the reason that I don't give firm dates right now is because, based on my travel schedule and other things, I don't want to commit to certain days, especially for our live lessons, until I'm a little bit closer and know exactly what my other responsibilities are. Which is just a little bit of awesomeness. I love the interaction that our Facebook groups have on our courses, where people support each other, where they share their videos in the same area as you are. And there's been relationships and friendships struck up, and business relationships struck up through our Facebook groups, when people are working in a like area. And so our Facebook group is a big part of this. Actually, it used to be called Screencasting Made Easy, and now we've just changed the name to Online Video Made Easy. We just changed it today. So that the Facebook group is a part of it, and it's a closed group that's only available to members of the course. Of course, there's a 30-day guarantee, and that's from the time that the course starts. We always have this for all of our courses. If you aren't getting value out of the course, I don't want your money. I want you to make sure that you're happy and comfortable and secure with the fact that you can sign up for the course and make sure that it works for you. So we always have this 30-day guarantee, not from the day you purchase, but from the day the course starts. Cost. $4.99 is the cost of this course, but as I promised, we have an early bird special. Now, I'm going to just drop one other thing here, talking about pricing and philosophy, because this is an area that a lot of online marketers bundle in all sorts of bonuses and they change the pricing around and they have all these different special offers. You won't find any of that. Philosophically, I just don't like doing that kind of stuff. So there's no big bonuses for the course. The bonus is you save money if you purchase early, if you invest early in it. And those are the only bonuses that I ever offer, or I'm ever planning on offering with this course. I'm not going to add a bunch of extra things that make it look like you're getting more dollar value that you'll never use. That's philosophy number one. Philosophy number two on Dotto Tech is you can trust me on the pricing. People who are part of our community can get it at a discount. That's what we're offering right now. And then once the course starts, it's fixed at a price, at the full price, $4.99, and it stays there till next time we revise the course. It won't be sold cheaper later. You won't find a Black Friday sale or a Christmas sale. You don't have to worry that you are going to spend your money and then find it cheaper later on. That won't happen. With one caveat. All of our patrons at $10 a month who support us on Patreon get access to all of our premium courses at half off. So that is always available to them. And so that's the only way that you'll get the course cheaper than what we're offering it today. I hope that makes sense. And that's just philosophically how we do things. I don't want you to be confused, and I don't ever want to be worrying about, people being feeling that they were for less money later. I hate that when it happens to me. I imagine you do as well. So the price is going to be $349. I should turn off my video because it's probably blocking that. $349 until December 18th. So we're going to have this super early bird offer at $349 till December 18th. Then while Steve is moving, I'm going to go dark to the world. When we come back in January, just before we launch the course, there'll be an early bird offer with our big as we do a proper launch of the course, and it'll be offered at $399 at that particular point. But until December 18th, we're offering it at $349. And if we can put the sales page in the sidebar now, you can click. You can go through that. It gives you more detail on the content of the course, as well as the ability for you to purchase is there. So I hope that those of you who are looking at really developing your chops in the world of online video consider this course we've designed to work for you. The entire run of the course. So that's our course. I am some kind of excited about it. And those of you that are going to we can work our way through the Q&A. How are we doing for time? Oh, good. We got 15 minutes.
Yep,
Perfect.
15 minutes. So, all right.
Awesome.
So before we start Q&A, I know there's been some connection issues in the chat. So I did want to just let people know you will get a replay, and it will be, Steve does a cleaned up version of the replay. So you won't miss a beat there if you miss something.
Yeah, the feed has been coming through great on mine.
Work for a low vision blindness supplier, and we're looking for a solution that will transcribe the audio to on-screen text. Any ideas?
There's a couple of ways you can do it. I mean, there's a variety of services transcription services that will take video and transcribe it for you. Plus, there's a life hack where you can just upload the video to YouTube. Video on YouTube gets transcribed automatically by YouTube, and you can download that file And so you can actually download the whole file, go through and edit the file, and then re-upload it once you've edited it and corrected it. So that's a kind of a life hack for doing very inexpensive transcriptions. But there are also some really good online transcription services that you can find, and you can also hire individuals. For a long time, we were transcribing all of our videos, and I hired somebody that I originally found through Upwork, and they worked with us for a very long time. That worked out really well.
All right. Steve is asking, Steve, what is your take on the change Patreon has announced for the way they are going to charge and allocate the funds?
Not happy. Okay. Let me deal with Patreon, because I see there's a couple of questions about Patreon as well. So the patrons that are on board that have not yet taken Screencasting Made Easy, that want to purchase course at 50 off, and it's 50 off the full price, not 50% off the discounted price. So it would be $249 will be the price that patrons will pay. So that is for all of you. Just let us know, and then we'll send you through the registration link there. Patreon just recently changed their subscription model, where patrons now, if you commit to $10, you pay $10, but then they're expecting the patrons to pay the carrying fees for processing the funds. The reason is Patreon used to clear everybody's payments through at the end of the month, regardless of what day you enrolled. So you could enroll on, say, December. You could enroll today, December 20. What is it? What's the date today? 15th, 14th, 13th.
Don't rush it.
So close to the 21st when we move. You could enroll today and give me your $10 and become a patron. Which, yay, thank you. But then again, on December 31st, you'd be charged again, because they do it at the end of every month. And a lot of people say, wait a minute, I'm being charged twice in a month. But the creators say you have to pay when you sign up, because we're starting to give you perks right away. And the last thing we want is you to sign up, not be charged till the end of the month, and then cancel your subscription and you get all the free stuff, which some people did. And that's human nature. Some people take advantage. So Patreon was kind of walking this tightrope. They've decided to change the payment to the anniversary date that people sign up, which is the way it should be. I think we all agree. Having said that, it costs them more to process the funds if they do that. So they're now, instead of taking that money from the content creators, they've asked the patrons to pay a little bit more each month. The thing that upsets me is they didn't clear it with us first. They didn't tell the creators that it was going to happen. So we had no way to prepare, and we had no feedback into it. I don't think it's a particularly bad system if we know going in, but they've changed the relationship with us, with our patrons, without telling us, and which I find deeply disturbing. I don't have an answer for it. I understand business-wise why they did it. I have an issue with the execution. Love to hear your thoughts on it, but that's kind of my take on it. So that's it. We kind of went off into the weeds on Patreon. Let's get back to video.
Okay. Peggy's asking, I always have a hard time finding a Facebook video when it is no longer live. Is there a way to search those videos?
That's the problem with Facebook. That's why we don't use Facebook for stuff that's searchable. We use Facebook. That's why we use YouTube for it. And typically speaking, if there's something that you found on Facebook that's valuable, they've probably cross-posted it to YouTube for that exact reason. YouTube is a search engine. Facebook is not. That's Facebook's biggest challenge. And you can try searching on it, but you can also, the best way to do it is you can save posts. If you click on the caret on the right-hand side of a post, you can save the post, and then in your sidebar in Facebook, you have a save post area. So you can save videos that you think you might want to return to in the future. That's the only really easy way to do it.
All right. Let's see. Paul is asking if you've ever looked at Fleek, Fleeq. It lets you make videos which are delivered from the cloud as a SaaS service. I think they use HTML5 to avoid the need to render and make edits easy. Lifetime AppSumo deal available.
No, I'll take a look at it. We'll make a note of that.
Rayanne is asking, why are you so afraid of video?
Me, or I think she was asking everybody. That was a kind of rhetorical. Why are you so afraid of video?
All right. Let's see. Connie is asking, every computer or recording device is different as well, and I need to learn how to coordinate video and audio, and then learn how to post the complete video on whatever platform I choose, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. This computer I am on here at work operates differently from my newer one at home. I guess it was more of a statement. And I know
Yeah, and
Connie's had some technology troubles today too.
Once you start doing it, the differences will become less and less because you'll be more concerned with the outcome rather than the process. The tools are pretty easy to use they're not that easy to use, but they're not that difficult to use kind of once you get into it. Plus, once you master one platform, you'll go back to that platform over and over again to create video for whatever you're going to be working on. For the most part, our students in our course use either ScreenFlow or Camtasia. And once you master one of those two applications, and it doesn't take long, by the end of the course, people are very comfortable in those tools. But once you've kind of mastered the basis of those tools, you'll go back and use them over and over again, and they will serve you very well. So that becomes less of an issue. And because as you understand each delivery mechanism, each delivery platform, you will automatically know what you want to do with that video to create video for that platform. So that's a diminishing issue as you gain skills in the space.
So I'm going to actually tag on to that question. What are your thoughts on, I know a lot of times because there is so many video softwares out there and you see it in your newsfeed on these ads, right? What are your thoughts on test driving a few to find the right one? I know when I've talked to some people, they try everything and then they never marry a product and never really get successful. Kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
There's a lot of tools that will allow you to create video that you're not part of. Things like Adobe, like Canva, and tools like that kind of help you create animated videos that are text-based or emoticon-based, that sort of stuff. And those are all fine, but they don't really meet they don't meet the goals and objectives that I believe that our students and we have, which is video for me is not just about creating an animated video that makes people smile or makes people think a little bit. Video for me is a relationship building tool, meaning that getting your face somehow on screen and creating that level of engagement is essential as far as I'm concerned. And so all of the other tools, if you're not looking at a true video editing tool like an Adobe Premiere or Apple's tool, or one of these, a real video editing tool, or ScreenFlow or Camtasia, I think what you're doing is you're kind of taking a shortcut to video, and you aren't really stepping in the way that we're talking about. I hope that makes sense. But those tools work, and they're great for creating a little, like an Instagram type post or a Facebook type post that you aren't committing your face and your personality to, and you're not really committing to 100%. You're just creating an animated graphic that you're sharing. They're fine, but it's not going to do what we're going to do, which is actually help you build relationships.
All right. Betsy's asking, what's the screen behind you?
It's just a green screen. It's a pop-up green screen. And we've got April, if you can later on drop a link in, or we will include in the email. We've got a link to a little mini course, a free mini course called How to Create Video in Less Time Than Creating a Blog Post. And that really gives you an overview of it's a junior edition of what we offer in the big course. And that's a free course. And we go through all of the hardware. I know several people have asked about the hardware setup. So if you enroll for that, you'll get a good feel for how the tools that we use, but also what the course feels like.
All right. Susie's asking if you can share your equipment list.
Yes, that's the best place to do it, right there.
Okay.
With what I just talked about, that course covers off all of the equipment.
All right, I'll drop that link in a second. How do you develop your template for your recorded video? Are you still using Screencast?
Yes. Yeah. And actually we're reworking. I've hired somebody to help me up the value of our YouTube videos because I think I've reached my best before date as far as figuring out how to work with our videos. But yeah, so I go through the development process of creating a format in the course. But for me, it's been trial and error. I work my way through. I look at the goals and objectives of the video. I look at best practices on YouTube, since YouTube is our main delivery platform. But even our webinars have a format to them now. Those of you who regularly attend see that we have a format. We have our meet and greet and welcome at the top. We have our pre-recorded segment. We have call to action, which is usually just a little telling people about our Patreon. Today was longer. And then we have our Q&A. And so we have that structure attached to each and every one. So that's just experience and trial and error that has kind of taught us the best way to produce both types of content.
Okay. How do you use view? I think it was supposed to be view edit. How about using view edit view edit as a learning tool?
That's great for individual communications. View Edit is a tool that we've showcased in the past in our productivity showcases. And it's a plugin that goes into Chrome, maybe other browsers as well, but allows you to do a quick screen record of what you see on the screen. And you can include a little video and you can include audio, but it's designed as an email tool with one-on-one communication. So we'll often use it within our team as we're working on a project, like between April and I. If I'm having trouble with something in Infusionsoft, I can just screen share what I'm doing, create a video, and it emails to her, and she can view it, and it's stored on the cloud, so it's quick access. It's not really designed for the kind of the broadcast world that we're talking about as we're talking about tools like ScreenFlow and using channels like YouTube and Facebook. View Edit is more like video email going back and forth.
All right. Jan is saying, when using an iPhone or iPad, what is the recommendation for a selfie ring light?
Oh, I don't have a recommendation per se.
I actually have one.
You have one?
I have one. Yeah, it works really well. I can put it in.
And I know Sue Zimmerman has a couple that she uses them all the time. So there's a couple that are out there, and they're
pretty inexpensive on Amazon. But
I've got bigger studio lighting, so I don't have a selfie light.
Well, what's up?
I'll get one.
I have to tell you, I went somewhere and I was at a training and I did some testimonial videos on it, and the light was incredible from it. I was pleasantly surprised.
Good. And I see Bruce has put some of the LumaFusion out there. Yeah, good. Thank you for that.
All right. How important is it to offer a transcript?
I think it's really important, depending on what platform you're on and depending what the purpose of your video is. If it's just a live stream that's kind of ethereal, there and gone, and kind of, from that perspective, it's not so important. But on YouTube, it's very important. It adds. First of all, it adds access to people who have hearing difficulties, and it also allows your video to be viewed. Remember, a lot of the consumption of our videos happens in mobile, and often mobile video viewing isn't in an area that it's conducive for audio. Certainly things like Facebook video that scrolls on the screen in Facebook, audio is very seldom listened to when in Facebook. So if you add captioning or a transcript that you can then overlay, then you increase the opportunity for your consumers, for your community, to view and consume your content. Somebody on a bus or on the train going into work that doesn't have earpods for some reason can still watch a video with the transcript running as closed captions, and they can still get the content. Great value there, right? I saw that there was a question here from Giselle asking about Patreon. Patreon is a month-by-month commitment, so you can sign up for as many months as you like. And we talked about the discount that Patreon gives, which is awesome, but it also gives you access to the Webinar Wednesday replay vault, which now we have 41 webinars, training tutorial webinars that are available, and that are part of it as well.
All right. Let's see. Yvonne is asking, hey, Steve, I use my iPhone X. Good. Lucky you. And I just got a wireless clip-on mic, but it appears that I can only use it when using an app like Movie Pro. I was hoping to also use Facebook Live. Is that common, or is there a Bluetooth mic that you use with the native phone video app?
I don't know. I haven't got an iPhone X, but I would think that the earbuds might work for you for that reasonably well. Yeah. That's just a guess, but it's something that I'd like to test out, but I got to wait till I get an iPhone X. And right now the new house is a priority. So the iPhone X is going to be a while. iPhone 10, mine was in 10 X. The iPhone 10 is going to be a while down the road, unless somebody wants to send me one. Apple?
Karen is asking, this is related to the course, do you include info on creating videos for Instagram? We certainly will be talking about Instagram from that perspective, but Instagram is not my main channel, although that's a good idea. I should actually include a little interview with Sue, because Sue Zimmerman does tons of video for it. It'll certainly be part of it, and if you are in the course and you have more questions about it, we'll definitely make sure we beef up that side of it. It's a good suggestion. Instagram's never been my thing. I look at pictures, but I don't post there very often. All right. Diana's asking about the Facebook group, the online video made easy Facebook group. Is it only open while the course is running?
No, it's open year round and people are in it year round. I haven't decided yet if this cohort, if we're going to close off sales at the end of this cohort or if we're going to keep it open. We are on both sides of the fence. Allow people to enter the course out of sequence and watch it all as a pre-recorded and not join in live. I'm still on the fence as far as that goes, but the Facebook group is active year round. And there's always content in it. There's always people posting ideas. I saw somebody posted just the other day that they found a really good source for background music.
What I love about that group too is that when people create videos, they share them, and it's their first kind of step out into sharing videos they've created and get some, unbiased, kind feedback, but real feedback too, which is great.
I see Karen's commented that she's a visual artist, so Instagram is where she lives. And Karen, we did create a whole series of videos that were designed for Instagram last year. We were doing something called the 1 minute tech tip, where we reworked and we worked within the square format. And we'll be talking about that because Instagram still works better in square format. And you can create all of the video that we create. We've got techniques for taking them and even creating a video for YouTube and then cropping it and re-editing it for Instagram and making sure that it's comfortable and native in both platforms. So we will certainly be talking about it from that perspective.
All right. Let's see. Where am I? I'm sorry. I lost my... Betsy was asking Canadian or US dollars in terms of pricing?
It's US, but if you're Canadian, drop us an email, info@dottotech.com, and we have a special checkout that takes a little bit of the bite out of the US dollar.
All right. And what about early customers to screencasting? Do they pay full price again for the course?
If you're a member of Screencasting Made Easy, you'll automatically be enrolled in this new course.
All right. Our friend Mitch is asking how much ScreenFlow instruction is included in the course, especially for a beginner?
We build all of the content. We show you how to do all of the things that we do in ScreenFlow, as well as we do a lot of them in Camtasia, but I don't teach you how to use ScreenFlow in the course. You get some of the basics from us, but ScreenFlow themselves have such good tutorials. We refer to them and tell you where to go, but they've got such good tutorials that rather than me spend my time on this course on those mechanical aspects, and they've done just as good a job or better job than I can do. I refer to them and I spend my time talking about the creative process and all of the things that I can bring value that they can't in. So we do cover it, but we don't. The goal of this is not to teach you how to use the tool. It's to teach you how to create video.
All right. What's the cost of a ScreenFlow type platform?
ScreenFlow itself is $100 and Camtasia is about $300.
All right, and Deborah.
So ScreenFlow is Mac, and Camtasia is either Mac or Windows.
Okay, and this question kind of goes with regards to that. Is there a parity between ScreenFlow and Camtasia? She has a PC, and obviously ScreenFlow.
If you're on PC, Camtasia is the tool you go for, and I don't think that Camtasia is quite as easy a tool to use as ScreenFlow. But at the end of the day, I can't tell the difference between a video created in one or the other. And you'll master your tool, and you will be able to use it, and you will swear by it within a couple of months. Just as somebody that's done that in ScreenFlow will swear by it. These tools all have essentially the same capabilities. Really, it's up to us to learn how to wield the tools, to use them. And you will. I don't think that people that are in Camtasia are second-class citizens to those that use ScreenFlow in any way, shape, or form.
Giselle's asking if Patreon is month-to-month or an annual commitment.
Yeah, I answered that one already. It's a month-to-month commitment. Yeah.
All right. Abram is asking, do you have experience with OBS Studio?
Yeah, OBS Studio, and actually we talked about OBS Studio in a previous webinar when we were doing live streaming with Ian Anderson Gray. Now, OBS Studio is more a live distribution platform. It's not as great for doing screencasting work. It's not designed the same way. It's a broadcast platform, and it's not included in this course, but certainly if you go into the Webinar Wednesday archives, it's a part of the live streaming world, and we did a webinar on that with Ian Anderson Gray, which was a really good one a couple of weeks ago. I see there's a question here that I just noticed that they were asking about Screencast-O-Matic for the PC, and Screencast-O-Matic is actually a web-based tool, and that's really a poor man's choice compared to the sort of tools that we're talking about. You can get an understanding of the basics of what we're talking about, but it won't do anywhere near the quality or the production style that we're talking about with Camtasia or ScreenFlow.
All right, Laura is asking, why use ScreenFlow if the nature of my video is not tutorial or anything in which I need to show my screen? I'm an author, if that helps.
At that point there, you certainly could use a tool. You could use iMovie if you're on a Mac, or you could use Adobe Premiere or Premiere, or I can't remember what the junior version of Premiere is. You could use any of those tools. ScreenFlow on the Mac is, in my opinion, an easier tool to use. And it's not just showing your screen from a perspective of showing the menus on a screen and that, but it's also anything you can see on your screen you can incorporate very easily. And so it still works even if you don't want to do classic screencasting. You can still use a tool like ScreenFlow, but you do have other options.
I have a blue Snowball microphone. Should I consider getting something else? The sound does not seem much different than talking into my computer microphone.
I would, before I looked at anything else, I would make sure that I'm positioning that blue microphone where it's supposed to be, which is probably going to be right tight to your lips. And you probably have it about here, this far away, because you don't want it in the shot, and you don't really want to get intimate and cozy with it. If you get intimate and cozy, look, I've got a $600 microphone and a $1,000 sound system. And if I pull away from the microphone, I don't sound much better than I do within. But when I'm on top of the mic where I'm supposed to be, then I sound great. Positioning is everything. Make sure you get the right position on the Snowball, and I bet you're really happy with it.
And I can attest to that because he says that to me all the time. Are you up to your microphone? So, and that looks like it's a wrap, my friend.
Oh, wow. Good. So, folks, I hope that that you found this interesting today and valuable. To all of you who have been so supportive of us through the year, thank you so much for the entire year. All of our patrons on Patreon, I see we've got a whole whack of new ones who I imagine are wanting to. I see Peace here, and who else? I thought there was a whole one. Oh, there's Anita has joined us, and William has just upped his pledge from $1 to $2. That's not going to get you to where you need to be, but welcome to you all, and people signing up for the course. I'm looking forward to this. I think you guys are really going to enjoy the new year with us. Just think for a moment about where you would be today if you had last year at this time of year embraced video and really gone in the deep end of the pool and committed to video.
Wow, that sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, that's where you're going to be next year, and we're going to get you started. So April, thank you so much for your help today and through the entire year. Yes, happy holidays to everybody. If you want to see we're going to do an encore performance of this webinar on Saturday, and then Steve is dark until the new year because Steve's moving houses. And anybody that's in the Ladner district and wants to help move on the 21st, extra hands are welcome.
If you do have questions, though, we're still available at info@Dotto Tech. So just send us an email. So we're not completely dark. Steve's just going dark, but we're still around.
Yeah, well, I'll be checking email, but I'm not going to be doing anything online. So until then, thank you, April. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, seasons, greetings, whatever kind of works for you. We send you wishes of peace, happiness, and joy to you and your families, and great blessings in the new year for all.
Thank you.
Till next time.
For a great year.